Hey, what's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI, the car shipping business channel. My name is Jay. You know, my goal every Tuesday night is to bring you another trade show level business presentation to you wherever you are, because your automotive business deserves the latest in transportation news. And if you're busy, and I know you are, listen, you're going to be able to skip ahead. In a minute, I'm going to give the welcome show lineup. If you're watching on demand, you'll know what to expect. You'll find clickable timecode links below the video description. You can go ahead and click on those. Please do remember to leave a comment, like, share, tell your friends. Thanks for watching ATI. If you're looking ahead to NADA next month, or Car Conference, Auto Intel Summit in April, Digital Dealer in May, Finished Vehicle Logistics in June, please share, why do you go to trade shows? And what are the economic factors and changes in technology driving your business today? What analytics keep you up at night or in the live chat on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time on YouTube? Your gold medal winners and our featured speakers tonight are Jonathan Smoke of Cox Automotive, Alex Yurchenko at Black Book, and John Coles of ACV Auctions. So please join the live chat, ask your questions, share your thoughts, grow your business, because it's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. What is up, ecosystem? Thank you so much for taking the time to join us again on a Tuesday night. I sure do appreciate it. Listen, if it's your first time here, please do feel welcome. We want you to feel welcome. This is ATI, the car shipping business channel. It's all the verticals in automotive on a Tuesday night. So please do say hello in the live chat. Dealers, carriers, brokers, dispatchers, auctions, services, technology, etc. No matter where you come from, we gather here because if it has to do with automotive, somebody's moving that vehicle. That means there's transportation involved, and we're going to get into all of that at the quarter hour in industry news. I told you I'd let you know the live show lineup. We're live right now, but if you're on demand, you can click ahead, jump to the parts that, apply to you. I know we've got limited time, right? So let's get to it. At the 45-minute mark, we have Jonathan Smoke, Cox Automotive. He is the chief economist. He's with us tonight. We're very excited to have him. He's going to give a presentation, brief presentation, and then we're going to hand it over to Alex Yurchenko of Black Book, chief data science officer. He's also going to give a brief presentation, and then we're going to hand it over to John Coles. He's the director of analytics at ACV Auctions, and then we're going to bring everybody back together for a full panel discussion. Yes, we're looking at NADA. It's coming up soon. Mic check 1 2 3. NADA is next month, and so is Car Conference. March is a big month in trade shows this year, and then they're just going to keep on coming. So lots of economic factors, analytics, technology. Feel free to put it in the live chat. What technology gets you excited? And what are the economic factors and analytics that led you to that decision? do me a favor. Please do leave a like, and you can click share, click copy. You can grab that YouTube link. It's right below the video. You see it right there. Text a friend, email, share it on social media. Help me out. Please do. Please share the show. Do it. And if you know somebody that is lost in auto transport, tell them to go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider, find out how we can help you spread the good news of transportation. I got a slide in industry news that'll, well, there's going to be a few in there that I think will catch your interest. So do me a favor, stick around, because right after this, we're going to go into the live chat. We're going to say hello, and then after that is industry news. We'll be right back.
The ACV Transportation team is always looking to expand our network to safe and reliable carriers. As an ACV carrier, there are many perks that allow us to become one of the fastest growing carrier partners in the nation. ACV carriers have access to our job board with thousands of new jobs listed every day. You do not need to pay for access, and every job listed is exclusive to our carrier partners. Interested in a job? While you stage a job on the job board, no other carriers have visibility to that job for 15 minutes, giving you the time to make the best decisions for your business. Get paid within 1 to 2 business days. Our jobs are exclusively dealer to dealer, which means no more walking in large auction lots to find the vehicle you're looking for. Be one of the thousands of carriers who grew their business in partnership with ACV.
Dealer transportation, peace of mind. Carriers pick up, deliver, and get paid on time. Join the nationwide network at acvauctions.com/ATI and sign up with Carrier by ACV Transportation. Links are in the live chat. Also meant to point out, man, that horn section, I love that. Let's jump into live chat. I've got to ring the cowbell. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris Chamberlain ringing the Super Chat cowbell on a Tuesday night. The channel appreciates you. ATI Core Community appreciates you. And what we're going to do, sometime we're going to try to recognize members that we see a lot. And Chris, you're right. You're on that list. So thank you so much. And the list keeps growing. Let's find out. Let's go back in the live chat. We got a list that is growing. So Ty was in here first. Big show. Yeah, what's up, Ty? This is a big show. As Ty knows, hey, this is show number 230 in a row on a Tuesday night. Or is it 229? And we just did 229? I got to check with Mark Grodicke. Yes, this is show 230. And so, yeah, this is big. We got some big guests tonight. We have a big lineup. And we're leading into automotive trade shows, which is a topic we love. So thank you, Ty. Kimberly is here. Auto Transport Intel. Welcome Tuesday Nights Live. Thank you so much. Please do jump in the live chat. And we want to hear from you. Even if you just say hello or just say just put those blinky eyes that you're watching, right? There we go. John at LAI Auto Transport. What's going on, John? Thanks for saying hello. Mark Grodicke, and John is on that list. John is always here. Thank you so much for doing that, John. Oh, and there's Ty ringing the Super Chat cowbell. Really do appreciate it. Ty, Cars on the Move, ATI to the Moon. Ty's got a lot of exciting information too, which is why more and more, man, you really do want to tune in on Fridays on Cars on the Move. That show's heating up. So make sure we'll have that in industry news as well. Mark Grodicke, thank you so much, Mark, for your support, for tuning in, saying hello. Really do appreciate it. Super Dispatch is always back on a Tuesday night. What's going on, Ben at Super Dispatch? Joseph McCleary, hey, man, good to see you. What's happening? Thanks for saying hello. Super cool. Appreciate it. And Moosey's here. Truckify Inc. is in the house. Silver Mint. Man, can't get enough Silver Mint. Thank you, Silver Mint. And with catchy slogans. You gotta love it. Because this is, listen, we're live. And if we can't, be in the moment, well, I don't know. I don't have to finish that though, because I'm in the moment. I'm here. You're here. Be in the moment. Why not, Silver Mint? Thank you. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Auction Direct Bobby. No, you're right on time. The party just started. Thanks for showing up. We got chips and dip over there. You can put your code over there. Get comfortable. Christopher Figueroa. Why can't I ever get ahead of a dispatcher at Coport? Wow, interesting. Christopher, you should join us on Dispatching Live on Thursday. And at some point, I'll stop talking like I'm some kind of announcer. I'll just put DL, and here's the link. All right, there's that. Okay, because I get pretty excited. All right, I got to slow down here, relax. Okay, just take it in. I don't think anybody does that when they relax. I don't know who does that. Maybe I should take a sip of the ELD punch. It's quite early though. JT, what's happening? What's up, JT? Thank you for saying hello. And JT, now this might be, I'm just going to go on a limb. I'm going to go on a limb and say that I think that JT might be a first-time caller, long-time listener. JT? First-time caller, long-time listener. Perfect. I'm on keto. Got any bacon strips? There you go. He's in the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, Auction Direct Bobby. He's in the moment. He's in the live chat. That's what I'm looking for. That's what it's all about. You know, Tuesday Nights Live started in 2017, and you know, I was sitting here and trying to dispatch, and that was, wow, 4.5 years ago. And now look at where we're at, sitting here trying to dispatch. No, I appreciate it. Listen, everybody, for saying hello, and I don't need to drag this out too long. I have way too much industry news. Seriously, way too much industry news. So do me a favor. Right after this, we're going to go into industry news. Stick around.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
You need an auto shipping quote and a broker software you can trust? Provide instant, accurate quotes online with Transport Auto Quoter by Superflow Systems and move with Pro ABD CRM. Visit superflowsystems.com. Links in the live chat. So JT has been watching for a while, and Silverman is going to be nice. Fantastic. Let's go into industry news. Yes, here it is. Show number 230 on a Tuesday night. NADA 2022 Economics 101. This is broadly categorized, but you know, we talk about automotive trade shows. This was actually a show, I think, in November. Automotive trade shows on Auto Transport Intel. We looked at automotive trade shows in 2022. NADA was near the top of the list. What you do is you go to show.nada.org. I'm just going to type in show.nada.org. You won't be able to click on that, but that is the link. And you'll see that. So this is March 10th through 13th. We're actually going to go live 2 of those days. More information on that next Tuesday night. But I went to the NADA website and I was clicking on education and research and learning more about what NADA is really all about. And I found so much interesting information, and there's this video, NADA Show Education. At NADA Show, attendees learn the latest strategies and emerging trends on more than 75 topics and at 100 plus workshop and education sessions. I clicked on the video, and you know what I saw in the video? A car hauler is on the NADA Show Education video. So Yes, it is. That is proof. I knew there was proof out there. If you're in automotive, you're in transportation. There you go. And so that is why we are so fixed on all these trade shows in automotive. You know, I like to say, pause on that. What's going on, Mark? Mark Grodicke, do you need a CRM? Check out Pro ABD. Because we know that if it was about, what was that, early December, you were told you're going to have to move your stuff to the end of the sidewalk, it wasn't pretty. You need help. You need a CRM. You need a CRM that you can trust. Pro ABD CRM wants to help you. Go to superflowsystems.com. Mark is in the live chat if you have any questions. Thank you, Mark. So when we look at the ecosystem and we identify all the verticals, on ATI, we're taking all the verticals and we're going to put them all together. And on this show, dealers, services, and carriers, on behalf of OEMs, auctions, shippers, brokers, and loads, is the theme as we look towards NADA. On ATI, we look at back of the store, front of the store, back of the store transport parking lot, front of the store where you find the dealer selling the car. And what's he going to need more of? The answer is inventory. It's inventory, everybody. Inventory. I like to look at the themes of times, and yes, 2022 is the continuation of the adaptation. That is where we are. When the auction is a packed house, you know you'll find Ty in hot dogs in lane 8. What is that? That is now when you're trying to network and grow your business. In the old days, it just used to be people. But now that there's so many digital software alternatives to getting things done and booked, we got to find new ways to network, and that's what we're working on. Like Ty is driving around saying hello at different auctions. He was at Manheim Lakeland on Friday, right there. And we got people at dealerships sharing their buckets of keys. That is very interesting. Thank you for that. And also, what else do we have here? Oh, Ty will go up. Let him know. Send him a text. He's in the live chat here. I'll put. You can send Ty. You can text him right now. 417-483-2764. Say, Ty, I want you to come by my place. And I'll tell you where you can park. Just come on up. Come on up to Unit B. Walk inside. Let's have a conversation. Let's get you and Hendrick, and then maybe, hey, after the conversation goes well, thank you, Hendrick, for being a part of the conversation. That is what Cars on the Move looks like. And Hendrick he's with Cart US and bringing transportation solutions to those in need. Thanks for doing that, Hendrick. And we get the proof. I love this. I got this. Was this an email that I got? I really appreciate. Thank you for all that you've done so far. To me, it's real. Oh man, that is exactly what we love to hear. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's ATI. Thank you. That's what we're trying to do. This was Will Morris shared on his blog, Reimagining Service. He says on the Real Car Business. He's been attending and participating in a new podcast, Auto Transport Intel. It's a revealing look, and it made him think about the theme, Reimagining Service. Thank you, Will Morris. That is totally awesome stuff. So yes, I was on NADA. I clicked on research, and I was finding more information about their different types of education. I encourage you to go there. There is so much happening at NADA workshops, Super Session, the Exchange. They have speaker series. They have a dealer learning lab, business essentials and innovation. It keeps going. Fixed ops, human capital, leadership, marketing, variable operations, digital. It is the biggest show in automotive, and it is next month. And as we lead up to it, we're going to talk more about forecasting and data analytics. Actually, when I clicked on the research tab, you should check out some of the stuff that I found. I thought this was fascinating. Oh, look, I'm getting excited. I'm clicking ahead. Driving the U.S. economy. Total new truck dealerships. Look at this. 2,222. What is it? Wait a minute. What's the date? Today is 2/22/22. And on the news, we got 222. Is anybody playing the lottery on this thing? Probably everybody picked twos, so don't do that. But it's interesting. Here's new truck data. Again, this was on the NADA website. Market share by manufacturer. Ooh, I love to see this kind of stuff. Freightliner, Kenworth up. Peterbilt down. I think Volvo's up. I think that Ty was telling me some of this. Ford, Freightliner, International. Wow. That's pretty interesting stuff. Truck dealerships by state. Oh, wait, it's down 2. Okay. Moving on. I like these kinds of... There's a name for this kind of graph. Where on the green, it's a positive movement, plus the size indicates volume. And then red, it would be negative. Wow, Ford went down. That's interesting. Ford had a loss. Change in market share. Wow, Toyota is the big winner in market share. Didn't know that. Okay, there we go. Again, all this on the NADA research website. Driving U.S. economy. Dealership financial trends. Light dealerships. Oh, total new car dealerships. Wow, that's down 16,000 plus. That's interesting. Huh. Dealership financial trends, more of that. Dealership advertising, wow, look at that. What a roller coaster. Huh. So the heyday was 2016 was the last time. Interesting, that's very interesting. Service and parts, really, that's down? Well, it dropped after 29. Okay, there's the ye old Transformers. Okay, we don't mention that word on the show often. Here's some news. ACV acquisition of Drivably broadens ACV's products to enable dealers to successfully compete for consumer vehicles. Hot market. Paul Machine of Black Book said it would be. He called it. Auto use partners with Run Buggy. They partnered together to integrate Run Buggy platform for auto use floor plan dealers. More and more dealers buying their inventory through online platforms. So hey, if you're a dealer, do you know what Run Buggy is? Because in auto transport, many people know what Run Buggy is. Integration. Live. Oh, look at this. Black Widow has new news with VinQ. We're going to learn more about that next Tuesday night. Black Widow Imaging and VinQ are partnering to create a new speed to market. It's all about time to market. And the OEMs want to push EV. America's power grid is increasingly unreliable. Did you see this? What? But Nissan plans $500 million project to build 2 new EV plants in Mississippi. So you got a couple narratives going on there. You can send me the news. You can do it. Send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. This is how you get your car shipping news. It is on ATI. It is on Tuesday nights. You can put it up on the big screen. We certainly encourage you to do that. And, by the way, camera one, it is now time. Do you know what time it is? It is almost 7:30. What, did you see that? Look at that. What's up, Super Dispatch? Super Dispatch, thanks ATI and the auto transport community. We'll see you at NADA and on the conference circuit. Awesome. Fantastic. We'll be live at NADA on the Friday and the Saturday. We're going to do a couple 90-minute blocks, so chase us down, find Ty. And thank you, Super Dispatch, for contributing to ATI on Tuesday nights. We sure do appreciate it. Now, back to that drum roll. Here we go. Every Tuesday night, we have another brand new 5 questions. And it's usually right around now, 7:25 Central Time. It is, are you a car shipping guru? We want you to play Ask Larry. This is a 5-question game. You can also, I'm going to put this in the live chat. You can actually put in your answers. You can go to dispatchcenter.com/Ask Larry, and you can put in your answers before we reveal the answers on Thursday on Dispatching Live. All right, here we go. You ready? Question 1. Here we go. NADA Show 2022 will begin on March 10 in what city? Is it Vegas, Chicago, Miami, or Los Angeles? Gosh. Only I knew what city. Anybody going to type it for me? Please. Just throw me a bone. All right, well, I got this one right. Okay, so I'm going to put my answers down. Because like I said, on Thursdays on Dispatching Live, we will reveal the answers. You may not need this one answered. You might. There's somebody out right now. There's somebody thinking, I think it's Chicago. So join us Thursday for the answers on Dispatching Live. And it is not, that's right, it is not China Thai. Very well done. At least not this time. Question 2. Here we go. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2020 Chrysler Pacifica from Reno, Nevada to Knoxville, Tennessee? Is it $655, $860, $1085, $1315? Ooh, this one's harder than the first one, isn't it? Most appropriate carrier pay amount. Pacifica, bigger than a sedan. Reno, somewhat common. Knoxville, maybe a little more common. There's a bit of a distance there. I'm going to go with. Plus, this is current market factors. If you don't know, Alexa, open Quotify. You have to enable the skill, I think, on that. I'm going to go with 1,085. You can tell the car haulers in the audience on this one by the accuracy of the estimate. But again, this is current market factors. Weather's not great. There's still a little bit of Rona. Okay. Detroit. Silverman's got Detroit. Every other show's in Detroit. Yeah, if it's not in Vegas, it's in Detroit. Oh, see there, I gave it away. Yeah, 1315 if you want LAI to transport it. There you go. It should be 13. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to put 13. It should be 1315. Somebody's going to move it for 1085. Shoot, somebody's going to move it for 185. And if you don't believe us, join us on Thursdays on Dispatching Live. Question 3. Here we go. Which topics, such as the future dealership is green and what drives data, 20-minute TED-style talks will be debuting in the blank at NADA Show 2022. Transport Talk, Automotive Lecture Lab, Dealer Learning Lab, or Car Connections Room. Now, I do know the answer to this because I did my research on the education tab at nada.org. Even if it's 1315, they don't like that route. No, that's right. That's right. It is not a... I don't think that's a common route. Yeah, exactly. Fuel, right. Hey, there you go. What are the factors that go into considering what you'll move it for? Without music, by the way. I did that a cappella. Question 4. What is the most appropriate carrier pay amount to ship a 2021 BMW M3 from Boston, Massachusetts to Vegas? $555, $795, $990, $1,270, or $22222. Let's see here. It's so caught up, I don't even think about the answer. Boston to Vegas. BMW M3. It's small, but it should pay. Yeah, $1,270. I mean, that really is. Do you know how far? How often do you look at the map? How far it is to like somewhere like Las Vegas from the East Coast? Man, that is far, dude. Pay the man or woman. Pay her. Pay him. Pay her. It's not that kind of show. Oh, shoot. All right, here we go. Question 5. That's it. Last one. Somebody's like, man, thank God. Several companies that have been featured in industry news or guests on Auto Transport Intel will be at NADA Show 2022, including Central Dispatch, Black Widow Imaging, and... Ooh. Is it Prio Data Logistics, Ship Your Car Now, Vlog, or Vendor Flow? Wow, that is a fantastic question. Wow, Larry. You really outdid yourself. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna qualify this answer. I think they mean exhibiting. Exhibiting. Will be at. I'm gonna go with ship your car now. Oh, I said that out loud. Dang it! I'm supposed to just think it. Well, I say everything else, I think. Isn't that obvious by now? I think that's it. We are, oh good, we're at 2 views. Excellent. All right, perfect, everybody. Thank you so much for playing the Are You a Car Shipping Guru? Please do join us on Thursday for all the answers. Don't forget, go to autotransportintel.com, click on sign up, become an ATI insider, get on the email list, talk to Ty, find out how we can help you. And it's not just for startup car haulers and dispatchers. Are you a dealer looking for a better transportation method? Do you work at an auction and you want to connect with more transporters? Are you looking for equipment? Are you looking for the mobile app, the load board information, etc.? Well, I'll tell you what, we can help you with that. It is now time for me to take a break from talking straight. 30 minutes, that's it. I'll be right back after this with more, so stick around.
If we can capture pictures of the car in under 10 seconds, and you can capture more of them per minute, well, then you're going to have more of those online, and you're going to have more buyers seeing them sooner, and that's going to equate to more revenue.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verification of loads when nobody answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years of experience in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021. Or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Do you need help staying loaded or moving a car? That's the voice of Sue. She runs a dispatch office. She's a fully licensed broker. She's my co-host on Thursdays on Dispatching Live. Visit murphyautotransportservices.com. Links in the live chat. Okay, here we go. It is now time for part 2 of industry news. Now, if you're like me, you saw this on your cell phone on Thursday. This is last Thursday. It already might seem like a week ago or a month ago, but a cargo ship full of luxury cars is on fire and adrift in the middle of the Atlantic. We found that out on Thursday, February 17th. Since then, we found out some more. We've been reading about it. It was full of Porsches, Bentleys, VWs. It's on fire. It's in the Atlantic. We know what it looks like. It's called the Felicity Ace. The Portuguese Navy confirmed on Thursday that one of its patrol boats came to the aid of the Felicity Ace, a car carrier transiting the Atlantic Ocean that's currently on fire and adrift off the coast of the Azores. The vessel transmitted a distress signal after the fire broke out on one of the cargo decks, with the ship announced as not under command shortly afterwards. Thankfully, the 22 crew on board have been reported as successfully evacuated from the ship. Now, cargo ship fires are actually fairly common. Didn't know that. A 2008 study put the average at about 3 a year. Really? They hardly ever make the front pages, though. All right, how much is it? Well, estimated loss from this ship fire was $335 million. Holy cow. That's 1/3 of $1 billion. That was yesterday. What are we at now? 400 million? Is this today? I think this is today. Porsche, Audi, Bentley, Lamborghini. That's why the number keeps going up. 4,000 cars. And the fire continued to burn for several days, fueled by lithium-ion batteries. Definitely Devastating to the industry. Massachusetts auto dealer, among many auto dealers, seeing that in the news. So I guess it brings new context to the car shipping firms facing price fixing. Makes you think more about what's happening out there in the ocean. Oh, the LIFO bomb. All right, so why the inventory crunch has car dealers seeking U.S. relief from big tax bills. Thousands of car dealers are facing a LIFO tax bomb. LIFO, last in, first out. Now they're asking the U.S. Treasury Department to activate a never-before-used provision in a 42-year-old law for relief. What is going on here? Well, thousands of small and mid-sized U.S. dealerships face abnormally large income tax bills in the spring because of decades-old standard accounting practice. That's something that's done year after year, but this year is different. If you're using LIFO, last in, first out, as a widely used tax deferment strategy, and about half of the nation's dealerships use that strategy, here's the problem. LIFO's basic design relies on a continual flow of inventory to keep the deferment afloat, often for years or even decades. Stop the flow of new vehicles and sell off much of what's left. What happened to dealerships in 2021, and a mountain, I mean a mountain, of past tax deferments come due all at once. And what time is it? Everyone check their watches. Oh, it's almost tax time? Oh, so that's bad. Well, how big of a problem is it? Well, a coalition including dealer and manufacturer associations, Democratic senators, and a large bipartisan group of U.S. representatives is working to stave off a potential calamity for auto dealers of all sizes using LIFO. LIFO tax relief for car dealers, and the Treasury hasn't responded yet. When is this? That was yesterday? Car dealers still waiting for a response. Tax returns due as early as March 15th for many dealers. Income tax returns are due. Oh man! So if you see some like really stressed out dealers at NADA, yeah, you'll be able to pick out the LIFO dealers. This is crazy. Definitely hashtag LIFO is going to be happening. Ford Broncos pile up at Dirt Mountain as new delays test buyers' patience. An overflow lot near Ford's Michigan assembly plant is again filling up with Broncos. Bronco says the chip shortage is to blame. Let's see here. For example, this guy's 2021 Bronco Badlands was built more than 2 months ago, but instead of sitting in his driveway, it's languishing in a sea of snow-caked SUVs in a holding lot near the Michigan assembly plant. Communication from Ford has been non-existent. He said, though his dealer blamed the holdup on the global semiconductor shortage, the automaker has confirmed it. His delivery date has been pushed back 5 times. It's now tentatively scheduled for April. And he's concerned about it sitting out in the elements. It's depreciating before he even takes delivery. Yes, that brings in potential problems. Lane Watch, Black Book sees something cooking as values keep dropping. Black Book's experts seeking the potential for something tasty cooking at the auction, with values declining at a pace much higher than seen before the pandemic. Interesting. So we went to the Black Book website, and there you can see more information. We got Alex with us tonight from Black Book, so we'll see what if he's got some more data to glean information on the up and down action there. And thank you for sharing the post tonight. Thank you so much. ACV shared the post of the show. Really do appreciate that. Any likes, comments, shares that we can get, we do appreciate it. We're ATI. We're the Car Shipping Business Channel. We're the underdogs. And tonight, okay, so this is Jonathan Smoke. And he is here with us tonight. We're so lucky to have him. Jonathan is the chief economist at Cox Automotive. If you've seen his name at Auto Remarketing, doing podcasts there, he's been on CBT News and much more. And he does puts together weekly summaries and reports on sales, job markets. We're excited to have Jonathan. Jonathan's going to be up here in about 5 minutes. So Jonathan, here's your 5-minute warning, Jonathan, live on ATI. Alex Yurchenko, he is the Chief Data Science Officer at Black Book. Alex has been on the show before. We're lucky to have him. This was November 2020, and we had a presentation there. So he's got a presentation at Car Conference as well with Jonathan Smoke. Look at this. Alex and Jonathan are together again next month at Car Conference in almost exactly a month. Perfect. I'll be there. And then we've got John Coles. John is the Director of Analytics at ACV Auctions. You should definitely look for Jonathan, an up-and-comer and rising in the ranks. And he knows Jonathan and Alex all through. They all know each other. It's going to be a heck of a great panel. And ACV, of course, has been involved in this channel. So thank you so much, ACV. Really do appreciate all the involvement and support. You know, ATI goes live 4 times a week, Tuesday nights live. Do join us, whether you see this show or not. We want you to join us on Wednesdays. This is interesting. If you are learning more about the do's and don'ts, the FMCSA, the DOT, regulations, violations, CDL, etc. Fascinating show, 30 minutes every Wednesday. You can ask live questions of the expert, your DOT guy, Brian Riker. We look at how we're doing before we flip it. Okay? So, join us. Don't flip it. Join us on Thursdays for Dispatching Live, Load Board Search Advice. We will look at some of the crazy loads out there that are being pushed. Make sure you know what you're booking. And we love it when we finally hear, yes, we have a husband and a wife drowning. They're ready to listen now. We're here to help. You don't have to go so far down the destructive road. Just join us. And we're here to provide education. There's somebody sitting there right now, live or on demand, not saying a word, arms crossed, and just kind of watching and listening and thinking, man, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And well, that's what we're here for. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Cars on the Move. Every Friday at noon, dealers, auctions, and carriers were live with Ty. Last Friday, we had on Michelle Hutchinson of Ship Your Car Now with New Shipper Toolkit. She'll be back in April for another presentation. In fact, this Friday, we've got Tim Scoutelis of the Melting Block of Ice. Now, Tim wasn't able to join us tonight. He's actually on a plane right now. And in Ty, he says, Tim said, I'm so bummed I can't see you guys. Hopefully I can be there by the end of the show if he gets here. And you see Tim, if you see Tim Scoutelis pop in the live chat, say, Tim, how was your flight? Okay, all right, cool. So that's going to be a great show. That's Friday. That's going to be a great show. And Tim actually is a presenter at NADA. So on Thursday, March 10th at 4 o'clock. Let's see, we had Jobs in Car Shipping. That was last week. If you missed that, check that out. We have so many great companies with jobs that are posted and are waiting for you to find out more. Sales, dispatch, customer service, accounting, driveway, etc. If you missed that show, check that out. Go to the homepage on YouTube, on Auto Transport Intel, and definitely check it out. Now, this is next Tuesday night. Innovation and Acceleration at NADA show. We have yet another pre-NADA show coming up, but it's different. This show coming up, the Innovation and Acceleration NADA show, is all dealers and Black Widow. The way they work together, the way they benefit the industry, that's going to be a great show. If you're a dealer, you don't want to miss that. We'll be at Car Conference next month. And when we're there, I'm actually moderating a panel on March 24th. That is, that's going to be amazing. We got Joe at Midwestern, John at Ship Your Car Now, Jose Location Services, Dana at Pre-Owned Auto Logistics on stage. That's right, center stage. Live, in person, like there. Human being style. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great show. So let us know how we can help you. If you need to find out what trade show should you be going to, Joe, Jay, Joe, Ty, whoever. There's so many trade shows. What do I do? We'll find out. We're the Car Shipping Business Channel. We're here for you. We have your information, and we want to be of service. So thank you so much, at least, for tuning in, and then let us know what we can do for you. I missed much of the live chat, but I saw it going Awesome stuff. So thank you so much for saying hello in the live chat. All right, here's what's going to happen next. Are we on time or what? That's crazy. Right after this, we've got Jonathan Smoke, Chief Economist, Cox Automotive. If you don't know Jonathan, or you haven't been around lately, this is going to be a real treat. Stick around. Right after this, we're going to have Jonathan Smoke. Is your current vehicle imaging process producing inconsistent images? Frustrating? Time-consuming? At the mercy of another vendor's schedule? Well, it doesn't have to be. Black Widow Imaging provides a simple system to capture high-quality images of your vehicles in seconds. Simply align the driver's side tire with the floor stripe. Stop on the floor plate to scan your vehicle code and capture the exterior images. It's that easy. It's also equipped with an interactive 360-degree interior camera option so your customers don't miss any details. The results are fast, consistent 4K images that are delivered to your website in minutes. Let us show you how easy your imaging process can be anywhere in the global supply chain. Visit blackwidowimaging.com to schedule a live demo. Capture more automotive business profit with Black Widow Imaging, high-resolution 4K images for OEMs, auctions, dealer, rail, port, fleet, insurance, transportation, and more. Schedule your live demo at blackwidowimaging.com. Links are in the live chat. Mike, check 1, 2, 3. Excellent. All right, here we go. All right, cool. So, do me a favor. Please do help me wish a very warm welcome to our next guest. First time on ATI, the Car Shipping Business Channel, but an expert in the industry. Jonathan Smoke, can you see me and hear me okay?
Absolutely. Here on Totally Tuesday.
Totally. It is Totally Tuesday. It's live. It's Tuesday. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Jonathan, do me a favor. Please say hello to the live audience and tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, hey, live audience. I am the chief economist of Cox Automotive, and if you're not really familiar with that overall corporate name, we are the company that owns Mannheim Auto Auctions, Ready Logistics, Central Dispatch, Kelley Blue Book, Auto Trader, and a whole host of software brands that dealers use to run their business. So my job is watching the market and trying to interpret what the heck is going on in the economy and how that relates to the vehicle market. And I dabble in music and entertainment on the side.
You stay really busy. I know that. I mean, you put out videos. You are present on many media sources. What's been going on lately? Is it? I mean, tell us a little bit more about what your day-to-day looks like right now.
There is no normal day. The day in the life of an economist, and this is probably true of Alex and John as well, is, we're in the business of making sense out of things, and some of that is creating our own data. So there's a schedule to that. There are certain things that come out on Mondays, and there are certain things that come out, for the week that just ended. There's things that come out for the month that just ended. Since the pandemic, we've been producing things daily, and so that has added an element to things. Then, of course, we respond to things going on in the economy, and we've yet to see a sort of calm, normal period. When you think back that the pandemic really started almost 2 years ago, I was at NADA roughly this time exactly 2 years ago and had no idea just how crazy life would get. And even though we are passing stages of the pandemic, we're still in a scenario where you can't say that things are totally normal. We don't even know what normal is anymore. But we've all found a way to evolve that. And I take pride in helping the company and helping our clients, which are, everybody that's involved in the automotive ecosystem sort of make decisions. So in some of those dark days when people were feeling like it's the end of the world, sometimes our job is to talk about light that's at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully it's not an oncoming train. And then there are times where, we have to raise the prospects of difficult times ahead, when there are risks sort of emerging. And I don't know, it's sort of been the nature of the econ business for the last couple of years. There's always something right around the corner. There's all these black swan events, things that are hard to predict that suddenly mean everything in the world to us. And we've got some of those things going on right now with what's going on in the Ukraine, for example. So, and as you covered, the flaming ship of Mercedes and Porsches, that just adds another wrinkle to the supply chain challenges that we've been dealing with.
When you said black swan to me before, and when you say that, man, I mean, I really, you paint a picture. You'd think that an economist or an analyst might be a job where you're going to run some numbers, but really, as you tell it, people are relying on you.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm reminded of that daily by our CFO. Got to get this right on the sales and the pricing and everything else. But no, that's absolutely right. People rely on you. And that's also why you sometimes have to go out on a limb and you have to provide a forward view, even though you don't have all of the facts in the world. There's a lot of art to this. But at the end of the day, business people have to make decisions. So you can't, there's the age-old joke that I think actually it was a president that once said this, that he wanted a one-armed economist on his staff, because economists are always saying, well, on the other hand, because they'll never give you a sort of straightforward thing. And
that's funny.
Business economists are those of us who learned the academic part of Economics 101, but have learned to help apply that to actually making decisions. And I've had the beauty of a career I was originally in housing, and so I went through the housing bubble and the great financial crisis where housing, overnight fell by more than 80%. So I have seen extremes in two of the largest industries that really drive a lot of the global economy, and so I enjoy that. It gives me energy, and it makes me willing to, get up and shoot a video at 7 a.m. and then join Jay at 8 o'clock Eastern on a Tuesday night.
So, because I'm glad you said that. I was putting together you'll see in the scroll below, something about just a few years ago, anything prior to a few years ago, as far as analytics, isn't as useful as it was at the time. It makes me, so then you saw the housing market crash there in 2008-ish. And so I was going to ask you if it's ever normal, but this would be one of those swirls in the craziness. Is that fair? Or are we just pulling out of it? What do you see in the tea leaves?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely are in a better place, and you're segueing completely into the prepared presentation that I put together to give everybody sort of a summary of where we're going. But some of the benefits of coming out of what we're coming out of are creating new challenges, right? Like with inflation, and that poses risks for the economy because of what the Fed needs to do to fight inflation. But meanwhile, some of the challenges of coming out, like you said, what do dealers need? Number one, inventory. And what do they need? Number two is actual trucks to move that inventory to and from their lots. Those are things that are still really tight and really challenging. But for those people in the industry, it hasn't been a bad time. If you've managed to evolve and kind of go with the punches and learn to adjust, it's actually been one of the best possible times for just about every stakeholder in the business. So, sometimes when life gives you lemons, you cut an album called Lemonade if you're Beyonce.
And that is unless you're using the LIFO tax deferments, right? I saw this drive. Wow, that's crazy. I'll tell you what. Do me a favor. Do you want to take the screen and share some of that information with us?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And for those people who see the videos, you're just going to get a quick kind of summary version of what I think are the most important things to know about the economy and the auto market right now. And first and foremost, the economy is off to a slow start. But it has been, I think, a little bit of a misdirect for how 2022 is really going to end up, because COVID impacted January, no question, and especially I think your audience firmly knows that this winter has been on the harsher side of things for as winters go. So we've had a slow start, and you can see in this measure that I like to use. I report on it in every one of my videos that I do bi-weekly now on Tuesdays. But basically, we had a big slowdown in activity. We were chugging along towards being fully recovered. Then we lost ground basically in December and early January. But you can see where we are with the latest data last week. We're almost back to where we were before this Omicron wave hit. And I think we're really poised for coming out of this wave of COVID as the pandemic shifts to being endemic, to basically be in a scenario where all sectors of the economy are really truly getting back to normal. And that means we're in for very strong growth this year. The forecast for GDP this year is going to be just shy of 4%. It's about twice the pace that we had pre-pandemic. And historically, when we have a strong and growing economy like this, there's always strong vehicle demand. We're not at the end. We're at the beginning, hopefully, of what is a multi-year process of an economic expansion. But there are negatives going on right now. And I think the consumer is feeling that right now, because we see it clearly in measures like consumer confidence, consumer sentiment from the University of Michigan, or this daily measure of consumer sentiment that I track from Morning Consult. Because basically the consumer was riding high last spring, but progressively as last year unfolded, a year ago, we all thought, oh, great, we're getting 2 rounds of stimulus. The economy is flying. I can get vaccinated. COVID is no more. And we're no longer going to have challenges. But then we had the reality of, oh, no, we had the Delta wave. And then right after the Delta wave, we had Omicron. And oh, by the way, inflation is now up to 7.5% year over year, the highest it's been since 1982. And the government's not issuing stimulus or enhanced unemployment benefits anymore. So all of these negatives have sort of piled up, and now you have Russia invading the Ukraine and the stock market reacting in response, and all of those things sort of create a bit of a negative. And why this matters is the consumer drives our economy. The consumer is 2/3 of the U.S. economy, and consumers don't spend on big ticket items like cars and houses unless they feel confident about the future. I view this as sort of a reminder that things aren't perfect and people are worried. But I also believe that there's huge upside potential, because I believe there's more upside than downside. And I think the consumer is feeling all of the negatives right now. But with COVID risk diminishing, with inflation likely at its peak and starting to come down, with the stock market then stabilizing, and hopefully if this kind of war thing turns out to be not as big as the sort of the worst case scenario, we could be seeing the consumer feeling better and better as the year progresses. And by the way, the consumer is in great financial shape and has a tremendous amount of savings that has been accumulated through the pandemic, and it could actually power more upside to the market. But related to all these trends is the vehicle market has started soft this year. You'll see it at the end. I'm going to include a few logistics charts that you're not used to seeing in my videos. But I think so. The logistics part of the business may not be feeling it, but dealers are feeling it. The sales pace slowed down, and it's been a combination of things. COVID absolutely impacted January. The weather, as I mentioned, has been brutal for more weeks than not so far this year, impacting major markets in the country. So that impacts the negative numbers. And now in February, we're dealing with a slower start of tax refund season. And we may get into this with the others or in our panel discussion, but tax refunds drive the spring auto market and really define the demand that's going to exist in a usual year for the used car market. And we are way behind. The IRS is way behind where they typically are in processing returns and issuing refunds. So as a result, we've yet to see that retail demand really pick up. Consumers are essentially finding plenty of reasons to just stay home and not buy rather than buying. But then to your point about inventory, well, the inventory situation is still very tight, and there's no question that dealers need inventory. We didn't have a demand problem last year. We had a supply problem, and that continues to be the case in new. If you look at our supply numbers, we are off of the worst of it. The worst of it we measure is September of last year, but we're barely higher. And with a small uptick in sales in February, we've seen that inventory draw down, which is a reflection of, well, even when we have 4,000 vehicles on a boat coming over from Europe, if we lose them, that contributes to less of what dealers have to sell. If you go to the used car market, the situation is better than the new car market, but it's still down. Compared to our last normal year in 2019, we're down about 70%. And February is just modestly better than January has been in the sales pace. And look what happened to the day's supply. As soon as the sales pace modestly picked up from a very slow pace in January, we're seeing the day's supply contract again. So we have a very thin level of supply. And that's really slowing down what's potential, but that's also what gives the pricing dynamics for dealers and for manufacturers in the market. Of course, it creates an environment where the consumer is having to pay more, but the consumer has more money. And so far, the credit conditions have supported that. So then that brings us to prices, because the number one question I get these days is, what are we going to see with prices? And with the people you have on the panel today, I think this may be the bulk of our discussion. And I'm honestly, very interested to hear what Alex and John have to say as well, because we're off to a slow start with pricing, with less demand at wholesale, less demand at retail. We've seen an erosion in both wholesale and retail prices, more so in wholesale. Since the beginning of the year. The declines have been larger in January and the first week of February. Now that we see what happened last week, the pace of declines is slowing down. In fact, we measure retail as being flat week over week, and wholesale is declining at less of a pace. So we're probably going into a smooth landing, and I think we are likely to see prices go up as soon as that tax refund season driven retail demand kicks into gear. But we haven't reached that point yet. And as I mentioned before, I end with my forecast that you can use to contrast with what Alex and John say later and set us up for our discussion. I did want to share some data that my colleagues at Ready Logistics and Central Dispatch helped me put together to help me highlight how strong the transportation market is and how it's absolutely defined very similarly to what dealers and OEMs have been seeing in terms of higher costs and very tight capacity. So carrier loads in January were not quite as high as the peaks we had in April and May of last year, but it was January. If you compare this January, because of the seasonal patterns in the business, to last January, daily loads as measured by Central Dispatch were up 54% year over year. That's just astounding to me. And of course, just like we're seeing in every part of the auto business and frankly, most parts of the goods business in the US economy, we're seeing no signs of carrier transportation costs peaking yet. They continue to increase. So the average long haul rate per mile was up 22% year over year in January, and relative to pre-pandemic times in January of 2020 was up 28%. And by the way, if you note at the bottom, we're traveling further as well, which is an interesting thing if we have time to get into a discussion of. But because of the nature of the way the wholesale market has been disrupted by the pandemic and the very tight inventory situation, it means dealers are more likely to be acquiring their inventory from other channels. And some of those channels are a lot more inefficient than the historical wholesale business. And I think that's a key reason why vehicles are moving more in the mileage data. So I promised to keep this short, so I'm going to end with our forecast. It's a positive one. It's growth in all parts of the sales business, meaning we expect dealers to sell more this year than they did last year. But it's very much a supply constrained one, and it's very dependent on actually seeing improvement in new vehicle production in the supply chain as the year progresses. So to get to 16 million new vehicle sales, we have to see the SAAR improving month by month. We started at 15, hopefully we end the year closer to 17 as those supply chain problems start to diminish and production really grows. If that's the case, we should be seeing growth in retail, fleet, and in leasing. And that's really important to the wholesale market longer term, because it's sales into those channels which drive our transactions in wholesale and in the used car market year or two down the road. And so if we don't see this turnaround, it's going to have implications for the wholesale market being smaller, down the road. But I believe this is very likely to be the outcome for the year. Lots of scenarios. We could have more disruptions, and this could be an interesting thing for us to discuss in addition to the outlook for prices. So our assumption for prices is that we're not expecting a price correction, because I get that question all the time. Are we going to see used vehicle values go back to what they were pre-pandemic? And my answer is no. By the way, that's never happened ever historically, because inflation always plays a role in vehicle prices. But what we are expecting is to return to normal depreciation patterns, and in fact, probably higher than normal depreciation, some of which we've actually seen in the first 6 or so weeks of the year. And that's going to mean that we are going to see some erosion in values on metrics like the Manheim Index, which we're forecasting to be down 3% year over year in December. But by the way, that's down 3% in December of 2022 compared to 21, when 21 was up 47% over 2020. So in my book, that's not a price correction. That's just an erosion of value, the beginning of likely multiple years of no longer seeing the kind of increases that we've seen before. I do think, though, tax refund season is probably going to drive prices higher temporarily, because we're going to see that very strong retail demand kick into gear, which we haven't seen yet. Plus, another variable is we're likely to see the rental car companies buying in the wholesale market just like they were in the fall, because they can't get the vehicles they need from manufacturers. So that wraps it up for me in the summary. Bottom line, the economy will be strong. Demand will be strong, especially through tax refund season. Supply remains constrained. And so it's going to be a year with some similar dynamics, especially through the spring, that looks a heck of a lot like last year. And that should be lots of demand, really strong pricing power for everybody in your audience.
Incredible insight. Jonathan, thank you so much. That was really an amazing presentation. I mean, I learned a lot, and it makes me think of, it's such a delicate balance. It really is an ecosystem. Like when you talk about fleet sales affecting, it's really, when you paint the picture, there's so many elements to it. So thank you, Jonathan. Really appreciate that. It'd be a shame not to give you an applause. It's a must event. So here's what I'm going to do, Jonathan. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. We've got Alex Yurchenko coming up next. He's going to give a presentation. We're going to say hello to Alex. And if you're just joining, all right, so we're at the 1 hour plus mark. Jonathan will be back in the live panel. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to host feature number 2 with Alex Yurchenko of Black Book. He's the Chief Data Science Officer. Please do help me wish a very warm welcome to Alex Yurchenko. He's back on ATI, the Car Shipping Business Channel. Alex, can you see us and hear us okay?
Yes, nice to be back.
It's great to have you back. So we don't lose any steam, do you want to just jump right in and continue this economical, analytical, but before we do that, in case you haven't met Alex before, Alex, please do say hello. Tell us a little bit more about you, please.
I'm leading Black Book's data science and analytics team. Been with the company for 6 years. Hopefully everyone knows about Black Book. We still print those books, but we are data and analytics company. So anyone in the automotive industry that touches or is related to any process with the car is using our data. And my job is similar to Jonathan, similar to John's, is to give our business people insights to make those decisions.
I love that I can go to, like I was reading an article earlier, and then I can go to Black Book's website and start to see the information. So Alex, please do take it away if you want to share the screen and continue, because Jonathan gave us a lot to think about. So I'm curious where you're going to go next.
I'll continue with me. Sure.
And if you got a question or a thought, please put it in the live chat. Jonathan's now in the live chat. So that is great. And yeah, I like seeing those central dispatch numbers. That was really interesting. Thank you so much for that, Jonathan. Okay. All right. So
I'll start with the big picture, and obviously everyone knows what's going on with prices, but it just magnitude of that increase over the last 2 years, I think, is worth mentioning again. So we're measuring prices using our Black Book retention index. So we're looking at the retention of the vehicle, so not the raw price in dollars, but what's the percentage of your original value is retained after a number of years. So if your car was $20,000, you lost 50% of the value. Now it's $10,000. Our index measures basically effect of the market condition on prices. So we want to exclude or normalize effect of a vehicle mix at the auction. So if you have vehicles with extra mileage, like you see right now from rental companies, we want to isolate that effect and just look at what is market doing to retention of those vehicles. And since the start of right before the pandemic, so January of 2020, from that time, excuse me, to last week, I believe, the index rose 72%. And obviously, never happened before. I don't know what needs to happen for something like this to see again, but the price increases are just unbelievable. So the index is what a lot of analytics folks will use. What I think is a better illustration is to look at specific vehicle. On the left, if you look at just 2017 Camry LE, 2 years ago it was $11,900. Right now it's $16,500. Same vehicle, 2 years later, almost 40% more expensive. Vehicles became an appreciated asset. Something that I think is not a common behavior. You would expect houses to appreciate, but not the vehicle you drive. So it's 40% increase. You drive the vehicle and it increases the price. On the right, it's I guess more apple-to-apple comparison. So here we're looking at 3-year-old Camry. So right now we would be looking at 2019 model. In 2020 would be 2017 model. It's the price of the 3-year-old vehicle almost double. So for Camry, obviously it's a little bit different for different segments, but this is your volume vehicle that everyone in Florida drives. It's almost doubled in price in the last 2 years. It's just unbelievable picture. And to what Jonathan was talking about, most of it is driven by, again, supply and demand, and supply is just not there. Here we're looking at a combination of used and new inventory at dealers' lots. So as Jonathan mentioned, we are around 1 million new vehicles on average on the dealer lot. Before pandemic, we had more than 3 million. So if you drive by any dealership, that's why you see those empty spots. There's just not a lot of vehicles. And if we keep burning ships in the sea, I think we're going to see that picture deteriorate. But something similar with used inventory. in a typical year, rental companies sell more than 1 million units to dealers. We just not seen that this year. Fleet companies, rental companies, they barely have vehicles to rent, so they're not selling anything, and those vehicles are not showing up at dealers lots. So there is limited supply of used vehicles, and we're still trying to get out of the chip shortage and all of the supply chains that we've seen in the last 12 months. And it's going to take a while to recover. So I think this is a little bit longer view of what Jonathan was talking about. This year, we're not expecting to get new sales to pre-COVID levels. And January was a good example of why. We're still in the middle of that chip shortage, and it's going to take some time to recover. Our current projections is we'll get close to 16.5 million in 2023. Again, assuming there are no other black swan events. Chip shortage was just a big event that is going to change the industry for a long time. So think about those vehicles that were not made or sold in 2021 or 2020, 2021, 2022. They're not going to come back to the market. All of those lease returns, all of the rentals. So we are in a situation where the supply of used vehicles is going to be limited for next 3-4 years, and that's going to help wholesale prices to stay elevated. We're not going to be at anything like we've seen in the last few months, so the prices are not going to be as high as we've seen recently, but we are going to be 30-40% above pre-COVID levels for foreseeable future. So we are expecting prices to come down this year. So here we're looking again at Black Book's index with now 2-year projections on the right. So we are expecting prices to come down, and as Jonathan mentioned, first almost 2 months, we've seen a depreciation higher than your typical February and January depreciation. We expect some strength during the tax season, not across the board. There's some segments will be affected more than others, but overall we expect prices to softly come down this year. So we're not expecting any crashes, but we're not going to be as high as we've seen prices in December. By the end of the year, we're expecting prices probably to come back to where we were last summer, which was already extremely high. But the wholesale market and the retail market, the used market, are going to remain strong and elevated for foreseeable future. It's all about supply, and it's not coming back in the same volume as we had pre-pandemic. So I'll stop here.
Okay, good.
With quick rate of pricing.
Wait, so I'm over here taking notes, and I think I've decided that you and Jonathan and John will need a Black Swan Automotive Economy deck of cards. And ship fires and chip shortages, and I think we could come up with a pretty amazing deck of cards.
Last year, when we thought everything was over, there were some other issues, and
Omicron, Delta,
and yeah, we still are not out of the woods from COVID. Who knows what's gonna? I mean, Delta happened during the summer, where you're not supposed to have infectious diseases. Last few weeks ago, Canadian border was closed, and some factories were closed.
Canadian border, that goes on. That's definitely on the Black Swan. That was a really big deal for. Does it still have an effect? Or is it just?
I believe last week, the border is open, but last week Ford had, I think, some slowdown on their factories because they didn't have right parts. So effect is still there. So I'm sure something's going to happen this year, but
so we've moved, but we switched from Canada over to Ukraine. Now we have, which is a different set of factors, but in the automotive market in Russia, this is a really big deal, right?
well, it's a big event and it's going to affect the economy, as Jonathan mentioned. It's consumer confidence is
affect everything. Yeah,
consumer confidence is the lowest in a decade, and those global wars don't help consumer confidence.
No, it's and that, yeah, I mean, that is a really tough subject to just talk about from across the pond, right? I mean, we're not going to feel the gravity of it for, immediately, but yeah, this is a really big event. It's a big deal.
I grew up in Ukraine. I'm
You
from
did?
Ukraine.
Okay, well, there you go. So yeah, you could definitely speak about it. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. So
It's global events have effect on consumers, and we are consumer-driven economy.
wow. If you're just joining us, yeah, now that is really interesting, Alex. You've got you of all here tonight will probably have the most unique perspective of what's happening. That is really interesting stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
It's been growing. It's been brewing, and finally the war. I guess the war started again.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's hard to process when you just see it as an article. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I'm going to, Alex, I'm going to put you back into the waiting room. And it is now time to bring John Coles up on center stage. And I was talking, so I didn't put in the live chat. I didn't even prepare John. But do me a favor, everybody. Please do. Here comes the drum roll. We now, first time on ATI, the Car Shipping Business Channel, we have John Coles, Director of Analytics at ACV Auctions. He's here with us tonight. John, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight.
Hey, Jay, absolutely. I'm excited to get to join you in the ATI ecosystem.
That is awesome. We met at Used Car Week, and in fact, I think I met you and Jonathan right around the same moment there. That's the magic of the trade show. That's why I can't say enough about how important trade shows are, and there's no way to know exactly what that's going to look like until you're there. So, and I know it takes time and it takes money, right? It's time and expenses, but man, it is incredibly worth it. So we highly encourage you to put trade shows on your calendar. But enough about me and trade shows. John, please say hello to the Tuesday Nights Live audience and tell us a little bit more about you.
Sure. Well, first, happy Tuesday. It's we spelled it in our daily analytics brief. We do a daily analysis, and we spelled it TWO day. Right. This is a great Tuesday. It's kind of like Pi Day. We mathematicians and statisticians love those fun days. So great to be on the show. My background's in industrial engineering and logistics. And, the problem that got me into data was really last mile logistics. How do you get something needed by a consumer, that final distance to deliver it to them? And so love the transport community. I've been at ACV Auctions for over 2 years, and Jonathan and Alex have been great colleagues in welcoming me to the economics and data side of the used car industry. But ACV, for those of you who don't know, we're a wholesale online real-time marketplace. And the key value proposition that I get excited about is that delivery of data to the customer as soon as possible, right? We take a picture, we build an audio motor profile or AMP, we take that virtual lift picture, and it gets delivered as part of that auction as soon as possible. A customer can engage on it right away. And so that speed from data to decision is something so critical in these periods where you've got vehicle prices going up, an appreciating asset, as Alex mentioned, and then right now coming back down. And so catching it at the right time is absolutely key, and I'm excited to be a part of the ACV community.
And the acquisition of Drivably is another important
Oh, yeah.
step, and it's amazing.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, when you look at the trends right now with new supply inventory so low, helping dealer partners find a way to get access to consumer inventory as soon as possible is absolutely central, right? You know, you talked about Will Morris earlier in the show. He's a great mentor, and one of the things he talks about is, John, cars don't get sold, they get bought, right? The idea is that somebody is at the end of that transaction getting that vehicle. And so with Drivably, connecting that consumer from the sell and the buy side is absolutely key to keeping our ecosystem running, especially in this constrained supply environment.
Well, and I was trying to, it's tough on the spot to verbalize how the ecosystem affects the other parts. But yeah, if you pour some water out of a beaker into the other beaker, which would be then inventory that consumers have, that maybe they were bringing it as a trade-in before, but now they're just selling it through a platform from home, that has affected all, right? And so energy isn't destroyed or created, it's just transferred. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there is no, yeah, it goes somewhere. But yes, no, it's exciting to see just the ways we can help consumers dispose of a vehicle and capture their dream car, right? I mean, every used car gets bought somewhere by someone. And so finding a way to connect those dots in marketplaces using data, it's an exciting problem to solve to help people every day.
So, all right, so then so Jonathan had some slides, Alex had some slides. Did you have some things that you wanted to share?
Yeah, and
Okay, awesome.
I'm excited. I get to kind of put a bow on some of the stuff that we talked through during the call. You know, you mentioned at the beginning, and I'm just going to shift to the presentation mode. There's the advertisement at the beginning for ACV carrier apps, and we have a tremendous network of transport carriers. But one of the things that we're seeing in the market that Jonathan and that Alex talked about is this contraction in used supply, right? And so we've seen that contract at 12% quarter over quarter. So when we look at the fourth quarter of 2020 versus the fourth quarter of 2021, there's 12% fewer vehicles being transacted during that same period. And so the third quarter of 2021 to fourth quarter of 2021. That decline is impacting our carriers, right? It's smaller loads at more locations that they've got to connect those dots. And so finding a way to make sure that we help connect those dots is absolutely key. And when you see that deceleration in vehicle prices, right? We talked about that appreciating asset throughout the year. When you see that deceleration in pricing and it's smaller jobs, that puts a unique pressure on our transport partners, right? There's small jobs everywhere that they're piecing together and building these loads to get across the country and turn a profit in the process. You know, when we look at what has happened in 2021 and where the new supply plays in, this is from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, and what they showed, you know, you've got that at 5-year average for new supply sales, and this is the annualized rate. The last quarter of 2021, you saw just around 13.5 million annualized new vehicle sales. And that has been declining since April of 2021. Those new vehicle sales and that decline has absolutely shaped the market. And that lower level of new vehicle sales is anticipated to hold through the beginning of 2022. Now, that shift to online has happened with more frontline vehicles. We talked a little bit about Drivably. Now you've got dealers grabbing these cars from consumers, getting them into a new vehicle, but then they've got to dispose of that used vehicle online. We're seeing more recent year models and rental vehicles go online and get picked up, get dropped off, get bought and sold by dealers all over the country. And so there's just some unique new opportunities we're seeing in the marketplace for our transport partners. And that brings me to, ACV, we are just absolutely rocking this industry. I'm excited. I like the entrepreneurial, disruptive, having fun, solving problems that help people, right? A year ago, we were around, not 0.9 or $900 million in gross material value, right? So the value of the cars we sold, and we sold about 103,000 cars in the marketplace in Q4 of 20. When you look at the additional 36,000 cars we sold, and you look at the contrasted value of those vehicles, what you're seeing is over a doubling of value in the vehicles being transacted online. So when somebody's buying and selling that car online, and we anticipate this to hold through 2022, when they're buying and selling that car online, they're going to be pickier, right? This car that they just had, that they just saw online, they spent $20,000 to $40,000 on. As that price begins to decelerate, dealers are going to be pickier. Speed, excellence, and delivery are going to be the name of the game in transport in 2022, right? You're paying more for an appreciated asset, and you're seeing consumers take a couple more breaths before they sign on the dotted line for that new car. Every scratch, delay, issue is going to be a much bigger deal in 2022 to our dealer partners and consumers than it was in 2021. And so, we talked about the NADA show. There's so many exciting things that are coming out across the industry to help our dealers. And one of the things that we've seen, and I talked about this at the beginning, drivably, but also live appraisals, this idea that consumers getting into the game of wholesale inventory disposal and working with our dealer partners to capture those consumers at a dealer location, it's gonna be a game changer in 2022. There's so few new vehicles coming into the market, and dealers are desperate to flip that inventory. They've got to get ahead of LIFO, like you talked about at the beginning of the call. And so finding ways to help our dealers dispose of that inventory efficiently and get those consumers in the door is going to be critical. And so there's a lot more. I mean, and we'll cover some of it in our NADA booth. And I'm sure there's more exciting stuff that we'll cover in our conversation today. But just hammering home that point, we're going to see consumer vehicles enter this market in new ways, new approaches, and with our dealer partners in 2022, because we're looking for supply wherever we can find it. And we're excited to work with our dealer partners to do that.
Wow. Amazing presentation. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to let's go ahead and bring in Jonathan, Smoke, Alex Yurchenko, and I didn't give you guys any warning or notice at all, so the audio might go crazy for a second here. Guys, go ahead and say hello. We're in the final quarter, final stretch here. This is going to be a good one because we now have all together, full panel discussion, John Coles, Jonathan Smoke, and Alex Yurchenko. I don't know where to start other than Black Swan deck of cards.
Excellent idea.
Right, that is right. I can see that you're already coming up with more cards. But rather than go in that direction, vehicle values. Did I hear speed versus damage there, John? Speed versus damage. You didn't say that, but is it there?
So I think that speed is absolutely going to be critical. So anytime you see an asset that is depreciating, yesterday was the best day to sell that asset. So as we go into this weird tax season is coming, but we anticipate it'll be kind of delayed. But right now, that asset is depreciating. Yesterday was the best day to sell that car. So I think the speed to delivery, speed to acquisition, speed to delivery, and then speed to sale to a consumer and purchase by a consumer is going to be critical, especially for those smaller independent dealers. Every delay, every ding that they have to recondition, that's going to frustrate them in ways that I think they've been a little more okay with in the past because it's tax season. But now it's one of the 5 cars on the lot where they used to have 10. So I think we're going to be really focused on excellence in speed and delivery and quality.
Will we see billboards that say, "Drive safer, we need your car"?
Yeah, I mean, the insurance companies are actually one of the stakeholders that are hurting right now, because they need you to drive safer, because if you damage your car, the parts or getting it repaired in terms of capacity is extremely tight. And this is not an ideal time to have any sort of damage.
There's also issues with replacement vehicles. Rental companies are still trying to figure out how to get inventory.
Okay, so we've got a few billboards now. We've got "Drive safer, we need your car," "Drive safer, there are no parts," and "Drive safer, there's no rentals available." This is between the deck of cards and the billboards, guys, I love creating stuff, and I love that you're here. And I also know that I may be the only one with an empty glass here tonight. But I told you that, it is that kind of show, and hopefully sometime.
My glass is half full.
There we go. That's what we're talking about. And if you're, if you're like us, if you're out there in TV land, please do say hello. All right, gentlemen. So let's do this. We got 20 minutes. And we're lucky enough, we're here, we're live, lots of information flowing. I've got more notes and whatnot, but I would love to hear one of you, lead some kind of conversation based on all the things that we talked about tonight. Take it away.
Well, I'll tee up the obvious. We are all in the business of projecting what the values are going to be like. So I laid mine out, and we got also Alex's view of roughly where we are at the end of the year compared to last year. So John, what's your view on how values trend?
I like it, Jonathan. So, at this point, I anticipate that values will decline through probably the next couple weeks, then hold steady through tax season, and then continue along an accelerated historic depreciation curve. So my current trends are
so no more similar. Increases.
So the black swan components are what give me pause, Jonathan. So that ship catching on fire, I looked at that article and I was like, well, there's $200 to $400 million in inventory gone, and then Toyota's delaying production out of Canada and Ford. So the black swan events are going to throw me for a loop, Jonathan. But generally, I would be surprised outside of maybe some flattening in April if we saw significant increases.
Until that ship's fire, I thought luxury vehicles are going to be depreciating. Now I'm not so sure. If you have almost $500 million worth of vehicles on that ship. Those events they screw up with our projections. But we still have at least one segment still appreciating. We still full-size vans are still appreciating segment.
Yeah, I thought Jay's Chrysler Pacifica was like it's worth every penny to ship that thing right now.
Yeah, not a lot of them are being produced, and demand for those vehicles is just through the roof. All those large delivery vans. So all the market is depreciating right now. They're higher than your seasonal rate. There's still one segment that's still going up.
So it's interesting, Alex, the delivery vans, with the opening back up of the economy, I've been wondering if delivery vehicles are going to start to depreciate when people realize that they can go back to a mall and buy something again, and they don't have to make their 8th Amazon purchase of the day.
Well, that's one part of the equation. The second is production, and OEMs just did not prioritize those delivery vans because margins are so small. So they were just not producing enough of them. They're still not producing enough of them.
Yeah. Yeah, when you drill into the inventory numbers, it's the low margin vehicles that you can't find any of. And what you can find plenty of are the high margin vehicles, except for those flaming European entrees. But one thing that I think is also connected to the dynamics we see in pricing, and it's a key reason why I guess I'm the one out of the three of us that believes that prices could go up in the spring, is rental car companies. It was really rental car companies, I believe, that caused that last run of prices in the fall, because retail demand was softening. Dealers were not passing along the wholesale price increases that we were seeing on the retail side. It was definitely the aggressive buying of the rental car companies that produced that. And it's precisely why where we had the biggest run up in prices were in the age of vehicles and segments that were exactly what the rental car companies wanted. And by the way, when you drill into the price declines we've had so far this year, it's the very vehicles that they were buying but haven't been buying since mid-November that are seeing the bigger declines. Well, they're not going to get new vehicle inventory at least through the first half of the year, and the rental car companies actually don't expect to get any sort of normal deliveries at all in 2022. Where are they going to get their vehicles? And if they come back and buy as they did in the late summer and fall, what is that going to do to your assumptions on what normal depreciation patterns look like?
So go ahead, Alex.
I think the one variables there is that there are not a lot of those newer vehicles with low mileage left on the market. So maybe they do want to buy those vehicles. There's not a lot of them there. They will be forced to sell more and more inventory, and we've seen that trend. That the rental companies, as you mentioned, they switch from buying to selling those vehicles, but with very high mileage. So that drives the prices down. I'm just not sure where that inventory will come for them to buy it again. They're in the pickle. They cannot get new inventory until probably next year in any meaningful numbers, and there's just not a lot of used vehicles they can buy. It's the rental market they have a lot of interesting problems that they need to solve.
Yeah, the question that I've been wondering about, Jonathan, is will the rental companies hold their vehicles longer, given that some of them, why would they try and move them right now? They don't want to try and replace a fleet in these market dynamics, and they're not teed up to get new vehicles from the OEM.
Well, the dilemma is
hold them longer than they normally would.
Yeah, and they're definitely selling at much higher mileage, but there's a limit to what their customers will accept, and because they're acquiring vehicles with age and with mileage already on them. What we're seeing is they're churning through their fleet faster as a result, and it was only the Omicron that slowed down travel that temporarily paused that. I think the spring is going to be a really interesting dynamic. I like Alex's hypothesis that if there's nothing for them to buy, we won't see the impact on it because they can't really transact those vehicles, and that I think that's actually a pretty good reason to to not include that in your black swan kind of list of things that we can't predict.
Maybe then will traditional rental companies say, "Hey, are you an Uber driver with a great record? Yeah, come on over." I don't know, right?
The demand for travel is going to increase as this wave, COVID wave subsides. Rental companies are making choices. What consumers to which segment of consumers to serve, because their fleet already at 50% of normal or pre-COVID level, so they already have to make those choices. But what I guess we're still talking about rental companies. But if they keep the vehicles longer, in addition to consumer feedback, they also have to spend more on maintenance. They oil changes, tires, all of that will add up. So I'm assuming we're going to pay more and more for rental cars.
Jonathan presented, I think it was late last year, on what an amazing time it is to be a dealer with some of the inflated sale prices, et cetera. Like, when I look at the rental companies, I'm like, what an amazing time to have a rental car company. If you survived through the last 2 years, you can charge whatever you want for whatever you want to consumers.
Well, there's a big small print. In many places they cannot, because it's a regulated industry, and in many places they cannot raise the prices. So they do need cars, and I mean all of fleet companies, just commercial fleet companies.
How about that car sharing stuff that we heard about before the pandemic? Could things like that come back? Right, there was those ride sharing rental. It's like timeshare, but a car.
A lot of OEMs tried it. There are not a lot of success stories there. I mean, Zipcar is still alive, but just the volume is not there.
That could be a lingering effect of elevated asset values, that you will see more experimentation with that, and consumers who are willing to try something simply because of affordability, which clearly is a big problem that emerges from all this inflation.
Speaking of car subscriptions, because I always find that interesting as it relates to transportation. Do we have any data on what's going on with car subscriptions? And that seems like a weird marketplace to me.
Yeah, it's a very limited, small part of the market. It generally has been something that has been more of a luxury option. So if you look at the formal programs that have been offered by manufacturers, it's been Porsche, Cadillac, Volvo. It's been companies that essentially had the clientele that were used to paying a monthly lease kind of expense, and could sort of enjoy some of the benefits of a subscription that weren't about addressing affordability. But one of the interesting things that I like about the subscription model, so we've had no real evidence of it taking fire, and I think the pandemic probably disrupted some of what might have been happening anyway. But one of the things that's very interesting about it is, at the end of the day, consumers don't optimize their cost of transportation. They are not as good as a fleet buyer at buying at the lowest possible price. They do not optimize their maintenance. They do not optimize their insurance. They do not optimize their financing. So the theoretical concept, pure economics, can a company do this better than the average consumer? The answer is absolutely. So there is merit to continue to experiment with that and find a way to deliver something to a consumer that otherwise they can't do as well themselves.
You mentioned the live appraisal market. It seems like a really interesting area full of opportunity, and we're seeing a lot of headlines in that marketplace. What's next for live appraisals for consumers?
Well, I think that finding ways to give a consumer every possible access point to get a new vehicle and connect them with the dealer is going to become more and more important in dealership strategy for connecting with the consumer and actually getting wholesale supply, especially over the coming year, right? Selling a vehicle is half the battle, but if you don't have anything to sell after it, then you just end up with an empty lot. And so finding a way to aggressively partner across the industry with ACV, others, to do something like a live appraisal event to make it clear to a consumer that they get the best price point for their vehicle, I think is a key part of the strategy for expanding in surviving and thriving, especially over the next 3 to 6 months as we continue in this supply constrained environment.
Well, last 2 years pushed, accelerated creativity of dealers on how they get inventory. We were slowly moving into more digital retailing, but just last 2 years pushed the whole automotive industry there. And I mean, look at the ACV's growth in the last 2 years on the wholesale side. But so dealers are looking for ways to get vehicles anywhere they can, and going directly to a consumer is it's a very rapidly expanding channel of getting inventory, especially if you look at those commercial retailers, fleet companies, rental companies. They just don't have vehicles to sell, so dealers have to be very creative, and they are being creative.
Yeah, and in that live appraisal, for those of you that don't know, I mean, that's an event where a consumer is at a dealership, they get their car inspected, it gets auctioned live, and they can actually see some of the dynamics of a real-time marketplace, bidding for their car, getting the best price. You know, I'm a millennial. The idea of an experience, being a part of even a vehicle transaction and putting some fun into it, and seeing people engage over that vehicle is exciting. I mean, to my point, as far as like the best time to sell the car was yesterday in a depreciating environment. When you see it bidded on live, you know at that moment you're getting the market value of the vehicle. And that's fun, and I think it's a great way to connect with consumers. And to Alex's point, you got to source new inventory as you sell what you have on your lot as well.
So that's an opportunity. You have the game show right there at the dealership. Up next, we have Susie. She's got a Camry. Susie, put your hand on the buzzer. Let us know when you're ready to sell or buy, or you're right. That sounds awesome. Is anybody doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Would that be legal?
I don't know. I'm not going to answer that question because I don't have enough details.
But it's interesting. Okay, all right, fair. All right, so here,
what people are doing today. I mean, we have vehicle condition inspectors at a dealership. They're inspecting it. The dealer's partnering with that consumer. I mean, it's a great way to see what dealers are willing to pay for the car. But it is an experience. It's fun. And especially right now, I mean, people are getting out again, and might as well go to the dealership and see what you can sell your car for.
Like the Chuck E. Cheese where the lights go up and the number goes up or down. Sorry, Susie. Gosh, we're so sorry.
John's right. It's one of the things that all of us get to enjoy, and I'm a little worried that coming out of the pandemic, it may never quite be the same. But our auctions are really cool places. I mean, it's a lot of fun to see the orchestration. It's like a concert. All the noises and the vehicles moving and the transports in the background, and it's just awesome. And yeah, I can totally get how the consumers would really enjoy that experience.
Ty, that's why Ty says he loves auctions. All right, speed round. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're almost done. Speed round. Ask a question. I'll ask it. We'll see if we can get an answer. Question. Will the repo market provide used car inventory? More than last year.
Yeah, definitely more than last year. But will we get back to 2019 levels in the foreseeable future? Probably not, because we've got fewer subprime loans. Consumers are in better financial shape. it's likely to be one that we're just going to see top of the funnel normalize, but repos are going to be relatively low.
The volume is increasing, but we're not coming back to pre-COVID levels. This probably not next year.
Yeah, I mean, debt relief from last year and even some early signs this year, it's clear that one is more than zero. So yes, it'll increase, but to Jonathan's point, it's not going to be anywhere close to what it was pre-pandemic.
All right, question, speed round. Where is the volume as far as transportation? Let's talk transportation for a second. And I got to tell you, I have a feeling transportation analytics and statistics, that would be a great future show if there was any potential that we could do that. Because, I mean, some of those graphs where you're getting into load volumes and then pricing and rates versus distance, especially when we add in the changes of digital auctions and then, snowbirds, etc. But is there a way, can we distill some of this information into what we can expect for transportation and loads? Can we glean a nugget?
Well, I think transportation is a key part of like some of the bottlenecks in the economy. It's driven by literally shortages of trucks, trailers, and labor. And none of those things are going to be resolved overnight. So I think it's very akin to the dynamics we've been talking about with new vehicles or with the rental car companies. It's one of slow improvement, but still very constrained capacity relative to historical standards.
And demand for, or the type of transport that is needed is changing as consumer buying those vehicles online. Now you might be carrying one or two vehicles instead of a large load. So the dynamic is also changing on top of not having enough drivers and cars.
Yeah, I'll go back to my comment earlier in the show. Smaller loads, speed pressure for quick delivery. I mean, I think those are going to be the two trends that really define it amidst constrained capacity on the transporter side, as Jonathan talked about. But smaller loads, get it there faster.
Ooh, smaller trailers, huh? Here we go. Let's talk about trade-in values. I think I have a hunch at where we're headed with trade-in values.
So they're usually tied to the wholesale and retail prices, and we're starting to see wholesale prices obviously decreasing. Retail is still flat, so trade-in values are going to be declining. So yesterday was the best day to trade in your car.
Yesterday was.
Until
awesome.
the tax season, then you'll have number of segments for at least flat market.
Okay, so that is the takeaway because that graph went so crazy. This is the fortune cookie really takeaway. Yesterday was the best day to sell your car.
I still think you got a shot in March and April, but if we're talking past May, forget about it.
Wow, there's your next billboard. Guys, this was so much fun. Oh, okay, hey, before we forget, I always do something. And this panel merits this moment. All right, so we're at the carnival. It's us. We're in one of those log rides. Now, we're going to take a couple turns in this log ride at this carnival, and there's a photographer around the corner. So when I hit the applause button, we wave at the photographer for the log jam ride photo that we're going to collect at the end of the ride, and we're going to frame it, and everyone's going to see it when they're at the staircase at Thanksgiving, okay? All right, so here comes... Here we are. We're sitting there, and here comes the first turn. Yes, wave at the photographer. Great. And now that is the conservative photographer. This next photographer is kind of nuts and expects some really nutty photos. So here we go. Woo! Yeah! All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for the time this evening. That was really, it was fun. It was informative. Look at all these notes I've got. This is crazy. And I think I just wrote a prescription as well as the Black Swan card notes. But I thank you so much. If we ever get a chance to do this again, or if there's anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thanks so much, Jay. It's been fun.
See you in Vegas.
I'll see you all in Vegas.
See you in a few weeks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And cut. All right, there it is. I just ended the meeting. That's right. I just hung up the phone on 3 automotive financial geniuses. That really was amazing. There's another applause. So much fun. Thank you, Matt. Great to see you in the live chat. Yeah, we got a great show coming up, Matt, so really looking forward to that. Everybody that was in the live chat tonight, I mean, you know that you got to witness, this really was a special moment in auto transport Intel lore, and it was live, and it was fun, it was informative. We planned, and yet we couldn't fully know what exactly would happen here, and it was wonderful. And that's what I'm always looking for in great content, is, yes, there's the planned, there's the information, but there's the human element too, and I think tonight's show is no exception. So thank you all for being here with us tonight. I want to thank once again Jonathan Smoke of Cox Automotive, Alex Yurchenko of Black Book, John Coles of ACV Auctions. I want to thank everybody in the live chat, and thank you again for those super chats, for ringing the super chat cowbell. Chris Chamberlain, Ty at Cars on the Move. We had Mark Rodicke at Superflow Systems, Ben at Super Dispatch, all ringing the super chat cowbell. Thank you all so much. And of course, I want to thank ACV Auctions, Superflow Systems, Murphy Auto Transport Services, and Black Widow Imaging. Thank you so much for being a part of Auto Transport Intel. We have great content coming up. More next in the future days and weeks, and I'm really excited about it. And so, yeah, definitely join us next Tuesday night. That's a dealer show. Join us tomorrow on DOT Compliance. That is a car hauler show. Join us Thursday on Dispatching Live at the Dispatching and Brokering show. We have more brokers watching ATI now than ever before, which is awesome. I love that. I love embracing more verticals. Come on in, because the water is fine here on ATI, the Car Shipment Business Channel. Guys, thank you so much for saying hello and the praise. I'm so glad you enjoyed that. I really did too. And then now I got to get out of here. I got to post the Instagram post, get some sleep, get ready for tomorrow night's show. I got to find a way to put something in this and enjoy the rest of the evening. And yes, at some point we'll figure out how to do some kind of after show or something like that. I think that is, yes, by the end of the year we'll have something going, and we'll talk about that at some of these automotive trade shows. And I got to get through, man, I got so much planning and production stuff to prep to go live. My goal is to go live in a month, live from Car Conference as I'm doing this here. It won't be as high quality, but hopefully close, live from the conference while at the conference. That should be pretty interesting. So that's what I'm working on in the background. In the meantime, if there's anything I can do to help you, if you've got something you want to say, if you've got something you want to share, I saw a couple emails come in. I can't check emails during the show per se, but you will be integrated into future content. So please keep it coming. Send in the news. Send it to autotransportintel@gmail.com. If you need anything, be an ATI insider, go to autotransportintel.com. If you want to get on the email, etc., let me know how I can help. And thank you, John Coles. Thank you for saying hello in the live chat, for being on the show. All right, that's it. I got to get out of here. I really appreciate you. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Good night.